This is the Original Firefighter Podcast, where we talk about anything you would talk about at the firehouse kitchen table. And sometimes we even talk about fighting fires. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Let's get into the show. And welcome back to the Original Firefighter Podcast. We have a great show for you, and we're doing some build up to our release of Frighteners in the Firefighter. That's going to be October 29th. We're trying to push through October because we got Halloween coming up here, and we all at Original Firefighter are big Halloween fans. In fact, we're going to be hitting on some of our top favorite movies. We're going to do a little bit of Halloween movie trivia, and we're going to talk about one of his very historical time in American history, which is something that is kind of like a phenomenon in itself that was occurring for many, many years over several decades, really culminating into the 90s. And we're talking about the Devil's Night phenomenon in Detroit, Michigan that went on for a number of years. And what I want to jump into is that if you don't know what Devil's Night is all about, basically there was a time, and I don't know that it hasn't changed a whole lot, but I know that Detroit has changed kind of like the way it looks. There's been a lot of neighborhoods that have been kind of just pushed over and mowed over and, you know, filled in because of all the dilapidation and blight. And when it was at its pinnacle moment of all the fires that were going on in Devil's Night, we're talking about October 30th would be Devil's Night. And in the 70s and in the 80s, this has all been well documented. There were times in the 80s when they would see 553 fires in about a 72-hour window. In 1984, they handled 810 fires between October 29th and October 31st, which was the worst on record for the Detroit Fire Department. This went in for the 80s and the 90s. And obviously, you know, and it really just tied in to Halloween itself. Phil, can you imagine how much work a Detroit firefighter saw in just a few shifts?
Yeah, they got a lot of experience. Now, the big thing though too was a lot of them were kind of just, you know, single engine companies going to it because it was fully involved, and they would just surround and drown kind of stuff and hit hard from the yard brothers. But I mean, there was a time where they were just reloading their wet hose and going to the next one. You know, I mean, before we had the hose that we have now where you can roll it wet and nothing happens, it used to have to hang dry it so it didn't mold out on you. But there was no time for them to do that. So it was just go to the next one,
on the truck.
Go to the next one, go to the next one.
Yeah, just throwing back on the truck.
Just complete chaos there too. I mean, everybody just running around the streets, lighting fires.
There's audio out there that you can find where they're dispatching multiple fires, and, you know, units are arriving on scene. They're saying, hey, we got multiple going. And the dispatchers that I've heard, you know, they're just like, well, just pick one, just pick one of the houses and start putting water on it and putting it out. But so this went on for a very long time. Like I said, you know, through several decades. Obviously, you know, things started to ramp up around about 2 or 3 days before Halloween. And then the official night, Devil's Night, October 30th. And like we just mentioned, you know, 810 fires over a 3-day stretch in 1984. This episode is brought to you by Strike the Box Cigars, Pipes, and Tobacco. Whether you're a seasoned aficionado or just starting your journey into the world of fine tobacco, Strike the Box has what you need. From the finest cigars to premium loose leaf tobacco, Strike the Box delivers on quality in a welcoming space where you can enjoy a smoke and good company. Additionally, Strike the Box specializes in vintage pipe restoration. We're talking estate pipes brought back to life with craftsmanship that borders on art. Got Grandpa's old briar gathering dust? Let the crew at Strike the Box make it smoke like new. Check out their full list of vintage pipes for sale at striketheboxpipeandcigar.com or swing by the shop located at 6935 11th Street, New Milford, Illinois. Soak in the aroma and talk shop with real tobacco lovers from the American Fire Service. Strike the Box, where fire, flavor, and tradition meet. Again, that's striketheboxpipeandcigar.com or swing by the shop located at 6935 11th Street, New Milford, Illinois. What really happened over time, though, in the mid-90s under Mayor Dennis Archer, the city started pushing back and they were not going to take this anymore. So they came up with Angels Night. And so Angels Night was, just like you would think where, well, if you're going to have people out there, arsonists that are going to, be doing torching and mayhem and just, totally wrecking, city life for many of those living in Detroit and the surrounding areas. So the volunteers started patrolling neighborhoods during the same time period for, October 29th, 31st. And so they created what's called Angels Night. And this took hold all the way through the 2000s, where they really started seeing just the tracking of volunteerism for Angels Night, where they started with around 8,000, getting up to, in 1986, they had 33,615 volunteers for Angels Night alone. So that's a pretty, good job, Detroit. I mean, that's them taking back their city. And now it would appear that, it's some of the things that I looked up, they were saying that there's been years of ebb and flow. Some years there have been more fires again. But in 2017, so they really found a low there where they recorded only 21 fires on October 30th on Devil's Night. So, I mean, imagine that, going from 800 fires over a 3-day period in the 80s to about 2017. They ended up with 21 fires on October 30th. So that's pretty good for Detroit to do that, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, it was good of them to do that. But bad thing, it's still Detroit.
It's still Detroit. It's still Detroit.
I got other problems too, but just besides the fires.
Yeah.
That's just icing on the cake, really.
Well, the scary thing for me is that I'm a Detroit Tigers fan, and they made it to the playoffs, but they were eliminated in the first round. So that was scary for me. Yeah. So, good job. I just wanted to touch on that. We don't really hear about Devil's Night anymore. I remember when I was a kid, that was a thing. Did you hear that as a kid, referring to the night before Halloween as Devil's Night?
Yeah, especially when I was in college, taking a lot of fire classes and stuff, and a lot of the instructors used to be huge buffs and fans and go out there and film. Kind of crazy how, there was, like I said, there was just chaos. People were doing whatever they wanted, I mean, I remember seeing a video, VHS, right? VHS of one of my instructors. He was like, well, I got as close as I could. I ended up in the building. It was like, wow, nothing happening there. So it's cool.
Yeah.
But there's
go ahead.
There was a funny song. It was, I don't know how long ago it was, but it's about Cleveland. And they're like, we've got art and stuff. It was a comedic song. It was at the very end. It's like, at least we're not Detroit. We're not Detroit.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
We're not Detroit.
No better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's pretty bad when
I know
which
one you're talking about. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. The fact that you're getting dissed by Cleveland. That does suck.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, though, Devil's Night was, the night that you went out and you egged houses and
TP, little toilet paper.
Yeah. That's what I remember Devil's Night being. Apparently in Detroit, they do things just a little bit more heated and a little bit more special. Yeah. Pun intended for sure. This is so that just kind of a homage to Detroit Fire Department. I remember back at FDIC this year, we actually did have at least one Detroit firefighter on our podcast. So hope he's doing well. Hope everyone's doing well out in Detroit, Michigan. This has been the Original Firefighter Podcast. Thanks for watching and listening. Tune in each week on Wednesdays for a new episode. Like and follow us on all social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel today.